Yo, yo. Millmatic, what's up with you, man?
D, what's good, man?
Man, it's good to be seen. I've been running all day since like 3 in the morning. So I'm on E right now, but I wanted to do this interview, man. So it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to
Let me,
have you on the show for
let me get
me.
let me get my stuff straight. How's it going?
Man, it's good, man. It's good. It's good. It's weird being on the other end of the interviewer mic when it comes to you, though. I'm used to
This is
you.
true. This is true. Normally, I'm the one interviewing you.
Yeah, that's for
So that's
sure. That's for sure. But I
good
appreciate
reason.
having you here, man. I appreciate you jumping on too. I know it was like last minute, but the reason you already know the reason I definitely want to get your foresight because you wanted to me one of the best boxing minds out there, and not just because you and I came up together and we grew up kind of arguing boxing, but also because you're close to it. Your hand is on the pulse when it comes to everything boxing and especially
Crazy
fighters.
thing is, for anybody watching, he was the second most influential person boxing wise in my life. First person would obviously be uh Greg Mack. Shouts out to Mac. But
The
Mac kind of like,
Mac,
brought me into it.
yeah, Mac a beast. Mac was a beast. We used to go and debate back and forth. We used to run bars together for his father, and we used to debate boxing all day while we was at work. We ran strip clubs, all that. So if it wasn't doing what we were supposed to do for the girls, it was us arguing boxing or Kobe Bryant, something along those lines, man. So yeah, sure. And then look where we ended up. Like both of us decided years ago, like, look, man, we just might as well remember Love. What Love? His dad, we call him the Love, man. He used to say, "Y'all get a check from Kobe and them for talking about this shit, man." And see what we doing, man. So
Yo,
it's
bro, I couldn't
definitely
wait. I couldn't
I'm
wait to
glad
show him
you
my
are.
first sports check, yo.
No,
That was
what did he
that was
say
a
when you
proud
showed it to him?
that was a proud moment. He looked at it and said,
He's like, I get a check now.
"Oh shit."
Ain't nothing then. But yeah, man. Uh, when it comes to the fight scene, first before we even get into it, tell everybody where they can find you because I know you guys probably saw me or see me around on the internet talking boxing, and usually the guy behind the camera asking me the tough questions is this guy, man. So tell these guys where they can find you. I'll
Like,
go ahead and give you another introduction after the fact, but tell them where they can
all right.
find you.
All right. So initially you can find me on ysmsportsmedia.com. YSM Sports Media on YouTube, same as Facebook, Instagram, YSM underscores sports underscore media, and as Twitter as well. So if you
Gotcha.
ever looking for good interviews, good content, multiple different perspectives, tap in with us.
Yep, for sure. Mill is like, like I said, he's one of the busiest men in boxing behind the scenes, man. And that's not a joke. Like every day, all day. And we're both blessed to be able to do what we love to do all day. But every day, all day, if you want to find Mill, look for any of the top gyms in Philadelphia or in the tri-state area or anywhere for that matter. But main place is Philly, but he's all over the place, man, everywhere. I've even traveled and done some spot analysis and spot journalism for him as a fill-in. So I appreciate what Mill does. But when it comes to the Philly scene, man, before we even get into the Boots Lima fight, because I know that's really what we're talking about, but the lead up to that is like, how are you so ingratiated or ingrained in the Philly boxing scene? Like, how did you, start that? And then from there, like, why does everybody just welcome you into their world? It's like you get a lot of interpersonal conversations with some of the some of the greats out here, man. Breadman to me is one of the best trainers out there, as well as Bozy, and they both happen to reside in Philly. You get a lot of content from those guys. Greg Hackett as well, not leaving him out. Rel, we got a lot of trainers and a lot of boxing talent here, and they all seem to perk up and make sure they give you cameos, so to speak, and great one-liners. So YSM Sports is definitely the source. I even get noticed. I walked down the city hall one day. Somebody's like, "Okoye." I was like,
Oh
who?"
shit.
I'm thinking I'm about to get some smoke from some Dallas Cowboy type tip, and he was like, "No, I watch you and Greg Hackett on YSM Sports all the time." I said, "Damn, that's what's up." I ain't know it was that deep, but yeah. So, how did you get into the game so deep, and why does everybody trust you to kind of like watch and monitor their process? Because it's one thing to interview on media day, But it's another thing to just be in the gym like a gym rat, hanging with the fighters during their process. Because a lot of fighters are including myself, when it comes to training fighters, a lot of fighters are cloak and dagger when it comes to that. So how did you get into that? How'd you get that deep?
That's a little loaded. All right, so my
Mm,
initial start, it came from actually in the UK.
mm,
Um, Arguing in Facebook boxing groups, being with y'all,
mm,
and debating with you and Mac and watching fights with you and Mac
mm.
spawned me into arguing with people and debating with people on the internet.
You just took it on
Uh,
the road.
and so there was a guy that was going around. He was arguing with people because he ran a boxing website and they were trying to branch out into the United States. They were a UK based website. And so he was arguing with people, see, who knew they should. I just so happened to be one of the people. And he calls me one day, pitched the idea to me. And, I'm like, yeah, okay. Like, I'm thinking it's not going to go anywhere. I was just saying, okay, just to say it. Like a week or two, he hits me with an itinerary for Kovalov versus Elena Alvarez in Atlantic City. And I'm like, oh, shit. Like, oh, this is real. And my instincts was to like bullshit, come up with an excuse, but something told me like, nah, go.
Yeah, this your break.
And I went and shit. Like the rest is history.
The rest is history. But that still don't tell me, like, that tell me how you got into the journalism game. I'm talking about,
Okay. All
how
right.
does everybody in Philly fuck with you? I know why I fuck with you, and I know how you got into the game. But I'm asking a real question. I'm not trying to pitch you to the fans. I'm serious too. Like, why does everybody bang with you, showing you their process? Like, they really will. Trainers and fighters alike, they will do their whole spiel right in front of you, whether it be what they're talking about, and also how they go about training. You really get a lot of content that other people can't get.
It was a process. It was a process. A person that was real integral in it with teaching me gym protocol. Because if you are not if you are not in boxing, you are looked at as an outsider. And that's just the truth. And if you do not know gym protocol, how to move, when to move, who to say something to, and when to shut the fuck up, then you will be ostracized. And
Mhm,
so a trainer by the name of Daoud Bey. Daoud
mhm,
Bey was really instrumental in like, okay, this gym, this is who you talk to, approach them like this, don't do that, do this.
mhm,
And he was instrumental in telling me where to go and when to go.
mhm.
And I think the rest was them getting to know me because after a while, like initially it was like, yo, who the fuck is that? Now everybody looking at you skeptical, like, yo, like what you on? But then with one
Yeah,
person, they see you talking to one person and that person's cool with you. Then they'll fill you out.
right,
And then it's like,
right,
a block at a time, a gym,
right,
another gym, a gym like that.
right, right. Well, whatever you do, it's unique, and it's working for you, man. Because like I said, I don't, when it comes to boxing, I only watch your channel. I know you on Fight Hype as well, but I only watch you. So
I was.
at the end of the day, it's work
I was. I
interviews
ain't been on Fight Hype in
that I
years.
like to watch. Oh shit. Well, I see a lot. I guess Fight Hype is taking some of your interviews because I've seen some of your shit on there. I ain't gonna front. I've seen some of your content on other sites. So I don't know how they're getting it then, but you on them.
Um, that's
You on
like,
them now.
yeah, like, all right. So sometimes it's a scrum, and
Mm,
sometimes it'll be me talking, and they're
mm.
like literally just filming, and they'll use my part. Yeah,
I got you. That's how it's
yeah.
happening. Okay, I got you. But I've seen it recent, so I was like, all right, I didn't know if you had like a affiliate partnership with them, nothing like that. We ain't talking business on here anyway. But either way, you know what I mean. Kudos to you. Has to go off to you, man. But to the topic at hand, man. Um, I've been watching Lima in preparation for this fight this weekend, and then I've also been listening to a lot of the fanfare in regards to how they feel about the fight, and from that perspective, you can see there's a lot of people that are already overlooking a guy like Lima when it comes to boots. I'm not. I look at him as he's a southpaw and he's a power puncher. You know what I mean? Every opponent that's in front of anybody is a serious opponent. But From your perspective, how do you think this fight goes, and how do you think Lima matches up against Boots at this point in his career?
I don't think Lima gets enough credit. And
Are you frozen?
boxing fans should have learned this lesson a long time ago, because as boxing fans, we constantly look stupid over and over and over again. You disregard a guy because he doesn't come with much fanfare.
Back
He
now.
doesn't come with a lot of promotion. He doesn't come with
We
a
had a
lot of
little,
name recognition.
go ahead, I'm listening to you now. We had a little lag right there. You froze for a
Okay.
second. Go ahead.
Yeah. And we overlook him. He's a bum. He's a hype. Like, he's a bum. He's a tomato can. He's a cherry pick. People said Lamont Roach was a cherry pick. I know you remember that. They said he was a cherry pick. Then all of a sudden, Tank became scary or a coward for not rematching him. It's funny, right? You're talking about in the span of a year,
First you ducking
the
that.
dichotomy switch, right?
Chicken, now you ducking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So I feel like just because you don't know somebody doesn't mean that they're not a quality fighter. Doesn't mean that they're dangerous. Now, there are some things that Lima possesses. Seems to be very explosive, strong, tall, southpaw. A southpaw puncher is never going to be an easy night
Nah.
for anybody. You have to find ways to neutralize him. Number one, the angle is difficult. If you're not used to fighting southpaws, it is going to be weird. Now you in there with a southpaw that can hurt you. This is a new weight class, and Lima is the bigger man. Don't let the face off fool you because he was in Balenciaga shoes. Lima is the bigger man. Boots is the smaller man moving up, and one of the knocks was Boots is a weight bully.
I don't think you can ever qualify for Boots, and I'll unpack that. But go ahead, finish what you're saying. I'll unpack why that can never be when it comes to Boots, and it's a reason, because it's a thing about weight bullies that is specific, and Boots is not that. But I'll tell you. Go ahead. Why? Anyway.
That was the narrative. The narrative was that he was this weight bully, and that they wanted to see him fight bigger opposition and see how he stacked up against a dude his size or bigger. And so that's what made this an intriguing fight. Everybody wanted to see him move up to 54. So now he's there. He's in there with bigger men. And now this wasn't the opponent that he wanted, but this is going to be a good gauge to see what he will look like in the division. And I see flaws. And are we talking about the flaws, or are we just talking about the initial fight?
Man, share your knowledge, man. When you say you see flaws, you can take it from an analytical perspective and tell me what you see, and then from there, we can talk about the fight as well. But what do you see when you see Lima, and what do you think the issue is? I know I see him too. I've been preparing for him because you told me to take a look at him, and from what I saw as well, I watched the fight against him and Singh, and I said there's certain things that he does that if he comes into the ring with those things not cleaned up, I can see him being a problem against Boots too. So what do you see? And then we can just compare notes, I guess, so to speak.
He falls in with the left hand every time he throws it. And it's not even a regular fall in, it's significant.
Yep.
And with certain fighters, you cannot have a glaring weakness. Something, if I see it.
Yep.
And you are a great boxing mind. Like, my boxing mind is nowhere near yours. No, I'm serious.
Yeah. But yeah,
you see it. If I see it, I'm 5-6 years in. I know Boots sees it.
Oh, for sure.
I know Bozy sees it. It jumped like it was the first thing I noticed. He threw a left hand. I said, "Whoa!" Then he did it again. I said, "Oh, okay, that's a habit."
Right.
All right. Legs are kind of all over the place sometimes.
Yeah. Hit or miss.
Hand speed, not slow, but nowhere near fast.
Yep. Average.
Only can punch when stationary.
Yep.
And doesn't bring his hands back fast enough. So those are the things that kind of like jumped out at me.
So I guess your analysis of him kind of tells me what you know is going to happen in the fight, what you think should happen, and so you think this ends in a KO.
Uppercut. Depending on how strong and sturdy he is, you might have to follow it with a hook.
Yeah.
But I think that the stab to the body is going to be essential. He's a big, strong dude. He looks like he's always in great shape. You
Mhm,
gotta not a scoring blow, like you gotta sit that shit in there.
mhm,
I need to
mm,
see that for the first 2-3 rounds, and I feel like that is set up. Um, I've been seeing a particular shot in the gym. Not gonna
yeah,
say what it is because
yeah, you
dudes be
don't
watching,
yeah,
but it it could be the uppercut or it could be the shot, and I think that the stab to the body could set up the shot.
understood. I already know what you're talking about, but I ain't gonna say that. But listen, when I look at him, I see a lot of the things that you pointed out, so there's a good eye there. And, the other is his defense. Like, when he's fighting, he's on a straight line. He's in and out on the same line, even though he does have this little half step back that he does, but, I don't think that he sees the type of sparring that he would need to be able to deal with a slick guy like a Boots, in any fashion, because he pulls straight out. Whether it's with his overextended left or even when he's doing any combination. I look at a fighter's head and look at the angle he's on. He's always on the same angle after he finishes punching, and every once in a blue, he'll move his head a little bit, but he's not really a mover out there. Even though he's athletic, like I watch him train, and he's explosive. He has okay feet in training, but when and it doesn't translate to his fights for some reason. So I'm not sure, and everybody fights different depending on who they're fighting. So I'm not sure if he's going to try a little bit more of that, thinking that he can incorporate some of that to try to give Boots some trouble. Maybe he tries it, but if it hasn't translated thus far, I don't think his experience level is at a height where he can change his stripes at will and adapt to what Boots is going to offer. But that brings me to the point that you brought up earlier, when people's narrative of Boots at being a weight bully. There's a key element to being a weight bully that Boots can never be. A weight bully is a person who to me, doesn't have the ability to truly defend himself, right? And when I say truly defend, I mean, when you watch a weight bully, you watch a guy that comes down in weight and they just eat punches, right? They can eat punches, and people think that they either have a chin like Peto, Angulo, remember?
Yeah.
He's a large man. He walk around like 190, 195, but can get down, right? So it was hard to hurt him. Margarito, same thing. Jared Hurd, same thing. These guys get hit. The Charlo brothers, in my opinion, they get hit clean by guys in their weight division, and it doesn't look like it does anything. But guys can chop at him and it doesn't do anything. Boots is not a guy that gets hit. His defense is sound. So that's a guy. That's why he can be in the pound for pound conversation and not a weight bully conversation, because he can go to any weight and still keep himself safe because of his true skill and ability. That's not a weight bully. That's a guy that just can travel different weights and do what he does. Like, I don't look at Roberto Duran as a weight bully. He was a guy that was pretty big, can get pretty big, but got down to 135 and fought 140, 147, and so on. I don't look at those guys as weight bullies because they have the true skill to be able to defend themselves and actually be talented enough to make you miss and not just walk you down and walk through punishment. A weight bully is a guy who walks through punishment and doesn't really have the acumen or the IQ, in my opinion, to be able to sustain himself if he was trying the same thing with a guy his true size. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I think. But so I see a lot of people just take it and they just plaster it off of anybody that cuts weight, and that's not a weight bully. Weight bully is a person that only is good because he's so large fighting at a smaller weight, not because he's just happens to be able to make a lighter weight. You know what I mean?
I like that. I
Yeah.
like that. I'm gonna use that.
Yeah, yeah, that's how I think. So a lot of people say it different, and I'm like, nah. And certain guys, yeah, you like when I'm interested in the and not to change the subject, we're gonna get back to Boots, but I'm interested in the Yard and Benavidez fight because of that. Because I look at Benavidez as a guy that's like, you probably supposed to be a light heavyweight because you're a big guy, right? And when you come down, you kill guys. He fought Gavazik, he hit him a lot, but couldn't hurt him. So I want to see if his power, if it was just Gavazik has a better chin than we gave credit for, or if his power really doesn't carry the light heavy, because that would be
You
another
didn't you,
example.
you didn't you didn't stop David Morrell either.
See what I'm saying? But that's another example of what I mean. A guy who, yeah, you kill guys at smaller weights. You don't have a great defense, but you seem indomitable at those lighter weights. When you're at a weight with guys your true size, it's not the same. You know what I mean? So that's kind of my point when I speak on that. But Benavidez is also a tweener when I say that, because his offensive acumen is still crazy enough where I'm like, he does have great offense, even with Gavazik And Morrell, he can hit you at will, sort of. You know what I mean? So as long as you're standing still, you know what I mean? But
Much more skilled than what I gave him credit for.
oh, for sure,
He proves me wrong.
for sure, for sure, for sure. But so not looking past him, but Eddie Hearn has already spoken on Boots being a guy that he thinks can clear out the 154 division and even move up to middleweight at some point and do the same. So
Mm.
let's just say, all things being equal, and this fight goes the way I think it's going to go, and the way you think it's going to go, and the way fans think it's going to go, which is Boots, dismantles Lima at some point, whether it's between round 5 and 8. I think he'll break him down at some point because he's a strong guy. He's not going to I don't think he's going to drop off of one punch, but if he does, great for Boots. You get paid the same if you knock him out in one round. But I think he'll probably chop him down after, between 5 and 8. I don't see it going past that because of the amount. Even if you're tough, even a wall can crack. And I think Boots is going to start breaking him down. Boots definitely has power that is ridiculous. So if he's hitting you clean and within in between exchanges, I don't see you taking too many of those. So a guy that's standing right in front of him, he's going to chop him down. In my opinion. So let's just say that fight goes this way. What do you think is next? And I know I'm not talking about what have you heard or what do you know. I mean, what do you think is next in your opinion that would be an impactful fight for him that kind of silences all these narratives that he has going on around here? Because I think a lot of people give Boots a name of, oh, he hasn't fought this guy, that guy, but they don't realize like it's very difficult to get people to accept a fight with a guy that they know is this dangerous at a certain price point. They, unless it's a turkey a la Sheik type of card, it's not too many people that are fighting Boots at this stage unless it's really a lot of cards on the table. And these guys are still maturing in regards to their draw power and what they're doing. So who do you see being a guy that Boots could fight, whether it's in Riyadh season or with just Matchroom by itself, that would shut these people up, in your
All
opinion?
right, I'm gonna give you what I heard. And the funny thing is, I'm going live in a little bit.
Mm,
Uh, I'm going live in a little bit on my channel because I wanted to touch on this, but I'll tap in first with you.
mm.
All right, so there's a deal in place for Virgil Ortiz.
Oh, that's good.
Now, Oscar was on board, Eric Gomez was on board, DAZN was on board. Boots signed an extension with Matchroom
Mm,
that had Virgil Ortiz in the contract.
mm.
Like that is a stipulation in his contract
Virgil.
that he must fight Virgil Ortiz when the fight is presented for the terms that Golden Boy and Eddie Hearn had negotiated.
Mhm.
It was Virgil Ortiz and his manager that pushed back on it. Like, how are y'all negotiating the fight without me and da-da-da? But the whole time it was your promoter.
Right.
So they kind of went zero dark 30
Oh,
on
man.
it until I think today or yesterday.
Mm.
Golden Boy reached back out to Eddie and said,
Is it go?
first quarter of next year,
Let's
we got
do
to
it.
fight. We want it. Robert Garcia, who was one of the guys that pushed back on it, said in 2026 that fight is happening. So it's either two things. You got a Bass
Made
Baru.
me happy, man. Go ahead.
Was that?
I said, you just made me happy with that. Go ahead.
Yeah, you got a Bass Baru who Boots is, if Boots is successful, he'll be the WBA interim.
Mm,
And he'll be the number one contender for Bass Baru. He was just upgraded. He was just the interim when Crawford vacated. So it'll be a Bass Baru and Virgil later if they want to do like the Cinco de Mayo. You know how that works. The business of it. Or it'll be Virgil then a Bass Baru.
got you. Got you. So when you look at it, because we've been waiting for that fight for a while. So Ortiz versus Boots. When you look at that matchup, what are some of the things that intrigue you about that matchup? Like, why is it that everyone wants this fight, and why is it that when these two collide, people think it's going to be fireworks in this way? Like, and I don't mean from a technical standpoint. I mean just overall, energetically, narrative wise. Like, what has been going on as far as the chatter between the two and behind the scenes? Like, what is it that makes it so that these two are on a crash course towards each other, or have been for so long at this point?
Boxing is about generations.
Mm,
And You had the Crawford, Spence, Thurman, Danny Garcia generation.
Right.
And then, as boxing fans, we start to look down. Okay, who's next? And then you see Virgil Ortiz making news for Golden Boy.
Mm,
Boots was the last puppy to the bowl.
mm.
It was, I know you're going to remember this, Rashidi Ellis,
Yeah.
Connor Ben,
Yep.
Virgil Ortiz, Alexis Roca, um, Jesus Ramos, Xander Zayas.
Mm,
These were all people on major promotions. Boots was a club show fighter. He had a mid-tier promoter in Cameron Duncan who kept him really active, but he was on the Chitlin circuit.
mhm.
Then he gets to deal with Showtime and start, fighting on Showbox, and then that's when the world,
Started to look at.
got a whiff of him.
You think it was the
We
Roman Vila fight that kind of really made people realize his skill set? Like what fight was it? Sergey Lipinets, or like who was it that he dismantled that made people say, who is this kid? Because I've been screaming his name for a while too.
Yeah,
And I think I used to say it, people were like, well, who the hell is that? Or what, not even just that, but why do you think he's that? You know what I mean? People would doubt what I'm saying. And I think like recently, within the last year or two, people who've been watching my channel for almost 10 years now start coming back like, I remember you bringing up this guy, Jaron Boots, and he was right.
promotion though.
Yeah,
All of those guys were ahead of him because they were signed to big promoters, so they're on TV.
right.
It first started with a viral clip of him pausing doing this after a guy missed a punch. It started with that, but then it was just him being flashy.
Right.
Oh, he's flashy. Oh, he's flashy, but he can't take a punch. You know what they do with black fighters. He can't take a punch,
Right.
or he's a runner. He's feather fisted.
Right.
So then you get in the Sergey Lipinets, the Thomas Delormes, the Castillo Claytons, and now he's sending guys to bed. I feel like that's around the time where it started, where everybody started to take notice. Like, yo, Spencer Crawford, like, yeah, but I don't know. I think this kid can beat them.
It's a story I tell, right? You got now. I don't know how much you could tell, and if you can't speak on it, don't, right? But it's a story I tell, and I tell it all the time. But I truly I know what happened because I was supposed to be there, and I was in LA, right? But I brought a guy. I won't say his name, but he's 7-0 at the time, from Crunk Gym, 6'1", probably walking around like 175, 180 at the time.
Yeah,
But
he's fighting at 54.
he's fighting at 54. And big dude. He was giving work in Philadelphia as good as he got. It was giving pretty good work. Spar Paul Crawl, they had good work. I think Paul got the better of him for sure. But he said, "Hey man, I want," and he was one of Rick Ross's guys at the time. So Rick Ross used to send guys to us, just to see like what do we have. So he would send them to me or send them to Mill and say, "Hey, what is this guy?" And he would give us a call and ask us to assess his fighters. And this is circa 2020 to 2022, 2023-ish, right? We stopped after that. But Abdul Mason actually is one of those guys too. I remember that. And Floyd Schofield. But in this case, right, this guy, won't say his name because out of respect, but he said he wanted to spar Boots. And I've took other people to spar Boots, but this one in particular said he wanted to spar Boots. I said, hey, don't go anywhere near there until I come back from LA. I was in
Yo,
LA.
crazy thing is they asked me. I said, nah, you don't.
Do it. Oh man. So what? You don't have to go play by play, but what happened, bro? Like I know what happened is from my end, this guy wouldn't speak to me anymore, and this fighter wouldn't speak to me anymore. I told you not to go. I don't know why you're not talking to me, but he also retired from what I know from boxing from a sparring match. So what happened? What happened?
Uppercut.
That's all. It was like down, or was it TK? Was it stopped, or was he asleep? You can't say. All right, don't
No,
say.
no, no. I can say chalk outline. Trainer Rob Acosta tried to jump in the ring and to catch his head.
Damn, damn. Listen, man, I told him not to go. He went anyway, but that created a legend for me because, to be honest, again, I knew of Boots. I watched him, but you know how I am is like I respect what I see, and respect the skill. You know, once I see what you're up against, and I brought a guy. You remember Ennis? I brought a guy to spar him,
Mm.
and when Ennis sparred him, they went probably 4 rounds. I think 4.5 minute rounds, somewhere in there, right? Or maybe he wanted 5. They went 4. And Anas got out the ring, man. He just walked out the ring on him. Like he said, "Yo, nah." He trying to, it was like what I ain't gonna say what he said because he probably gonna be mad if I tell you. But he got out the ring and I got pissed off at him because I didn't tell him to get out of the ring, and I would have if he said he was done. You're done, but don't just get out the ring. Just tell me what you want to do, and I'm gonna do it. Right? Anyway, I was, down on him for that because Anas was like knocking everybody out, just going crazy in Philly. And then he asked for the toughest competition. He goes up against Boots, and now you're running from the competition. I said, "Hey man, what you doing? This is what you asked for." And so I was down on that sparring session until I started to hear more stories about what actually happens when people go up against Boots and sparring. I said, "Oh, well, you were still standing after 4 and you still had a career after 4. So I guess that's good. That's something, you know what I mean?" But yeah, the other guys did not fare too well, man. So that's definitely why I start paying attention to the legend even more. Because I said, if you're doing that to guys with headgear on and 16-ounce gloves, that's a problem. That's a problem.
Yo, they say I'm biased. They say I'm a stan. They call me all kinds of names, right? I've seen too much for all these guys that they say is going to do this, going to do that.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
guys that do 100 interviews and talk about that he ran to 54 and not. I saw you get your ass whipped on multiple occasions. You
man, you claim it's right.
have revisionist history with all these other platforms. You
Right.
could tell them whatever you want. I was there.
Yeah,
With the bull saying Pineapple Express, I seen it. Nah, man. No. Dudes is world champions now.
yeah, man.
Dudes that's top contenders. I saw what happened.
Yeah, man.
I got another story. I got a story for you before I head out.
Go ahead.
This is a guy, former world champion, man. Notable name. Man. So he came to
I know who you talking about.
sparring,
I know who you talking
right?
about.
He came to sparring. And like that was the word. Like they were in town
Yeah.
and like he went back to go get his stuff, but he had came a little late and Boots was already in the ring. And Boots was in there winning Olympian. Top prospect Olympian. And based on how it was going, the dude who the former world champion
He said no.
decided not to put on his stuff. He went to go get his stuff, came back with his stuff, and he was like,
I don't wanna fight
yeah.
I don't want to fight no more.
we was excited too. We was like, oh shit. Like you know,
I
you
tell guys now, man, this is real shit, man. Boots don't spar, so don't go to Boots ready to spar unless y'all cool like that and y'all really like your trainer is real cool and y'all cool and y'all know, hey, we coming to work on some technical sparring and he actually, and I don't even know if he'll agree to that, but I think him and J Rock used to spar and I've heard him say, Boozy say like how you want it, so I can get that. But if you ain't that or if you ain't in the stable, don't go there thinking you're about to spar. You're gonna get it's a fight. You fighting. It's not a spar. So, and I understand that mindset when you are a guy like Boost because one, you want to stay sharp, but two, when people keep hearing about you and what you do, in the ring, people want to come make a name off of sparring you or get their confidence up off of it. So he can't go in there playing with guys. So I know we laugh about it. I know we talk about it, and it seems like we've been insensitive towards the punishment that he's dealing out to certain guys, but it's for a reason because these guys go there looking to make a name off of him. So he has to do what he does because not just because of the culture of Philadelphia. Everybody talks about the gym wars of Philadelphia, but also because of his prowess. Like people come there looking to hurt him, and he ain't taking none of that lightly. So I understand that.
look, I've had to have like pep talks with dudes
Oh,
like
I'm
after,
reading like it's your interview. I'm looking at you like you supposed to ask me a question or something. I'm so
yeah,
used to it, but go ahead.
I've had to like do pep talks with dudes like, yo, like you did good. Like, no, like and mind you, these dudes that got stopped. I'm like, no, you
Mm.
did good, bro. Like
That's
don't
good.
sweat it.
Good
And
job.
you'll see them
Good
after the
job.
fact. You start like the younger guys, he gives the younger guys like
Right.
advice, like, no, do this, do that, do this. And it kind of makes them feel better about what just happened. And this is a teachable moment
Yeah.
for them because look,
Right.
now you're getting a chance to see what the top level looks like. So if you only been doing 2 miles, you might want to bump that up to 3 and 4. If
Right.
you've been half-assing in the gym, if you ain't been on your diet, now you see what you gotta be to get in.
Yeah. Throwing up that pizza and that KFC. You better stop that. Not coming and fighting at this
Because
level.
you've been punching on, because you from Kentucky, because you from Tennessee, and you've been punching on all the dudes. Nah, it's
That
some real monsters out here.
that's the biggest difference is and I've learned that, since I've been training. I started training fighters professionally in like 2018. Thanks to you actually. But I started training fighters in 2018. And my learning curve was this. Like I had guys who were on an Olympic level, came here, did their thing. But I realized, especially a lot of the guys in the UK, like I have a fighter named Ennis who comes here often. But uh, he doesn't get the same level of sparring across the pond, so to speak, that he gets here. So he loves to come to Philadelphia because it's the highest concentration of just tough fighters that can give him work. So he comes here for that. But I realized from that it's like, oh, a lot of guys think that they're getting top level sparring because that's the top level from where they are. So when you talk about guys from like Kentucky, there's not a high concentration or a concentrated area of talent, and it's not a space where you're shipping your guy out or shipping talent in. You really don't know what your guy is until he starts to, come to places like Philly or the Midwest and some parts of LA, Houston. You can get some good work down there. And now Atlanta's starting to become one of those places too. But if you're not in those areas, or Detroit, that's Midwest though, but you're not getting that level of competition, and you really don't know what you are until you do. So I've learned that the hard way. You know what I mean? We already talked about one of the stories, but I brought several guys this way, and I got to understand like what they really were or weren't based off of the level of sparring that they receive here. So that's definitely those are gems that you dropping when it comes to that. But before you go, you're about to do a show on your channel. But before you go, right, quickly, why is it that you think anyway that Crawford is seen to be so elusive when it comes to boots? Like, why is it that even though these guys are kind of in two different eras, one's going out, one's coming into his prime, but why is it that you see? It seems that Crawford just wants no part of a fight with Boots, where a lot of Crawford fans give us hate for being biased towards Boots, or they think that we are because we're from Philly. But why is it? Why do you think that Crawford, when asked a question about Boots, is it like a personal thing, or you think it's like a matchup thing, where it's like when he's asked about whether or not he wants to fight Boots, he kind of evades that question, like it's like he doesn't even want to entertain that conversation. Why do you think that is?
Crawford has a very, very high boxing IQ
Mm,
and really, really competitive dude. I'm going to equate this to have you ever watched The Last Dance where saw Mike talking about Kobe?
mm,
When you look down that mountain and now you finally got up there, it took you 17, 18 years for you to finally get your respect and
right,
your love and admiration. You had to jump, you had to wipe out 3 divisions to do it.
right,
You had to destroy Spence, you had to retire Porter, and now you had to move up 3 weight classes in 2 fights to beat Canelo to finally get your love and respect. And now you're on the top of that mountain, and then they want you to fight a young killer.
mm,
Now, right now, he's riding high, and everybody, you can't tell people nothing that he can't beat anybody. He can beat Thanos, he can beat Benavidez, he can do all these things.
right.
But real boxing people know
Mm,
this is not a fight to take lightly. This is a dangerous fight, and it's a dangerous fight that doesn't favor him for a couple of reasons. First
mm,
one is age. Time
right,
catches up with everybody. And the
right,
first thing you're gonna say is, oh, well, he beat this person, he beat that person. Canelo isn't Boots.
No.
Is Canelo all time a better fighter than Boots? Yeah, he's accomplished more. But
Right.
we're talking about stylistically.
Accomplishments. Yeah, you right. You was hitting it. Go ahead.
Yeah, stylistically, he's a completely different fighter. The things that Crawford has over him, he doesn't have over Boots. What he
Mm,
has over Boots is experience. He has the experience. He's
right.
not the bigger man. He's not the
Right.
faster man.
Right.
He doesn't punch hard, and the skill sets are very similar. If you want to say Crawford's more skilled, if you want to say Boots is more skilled, the skill sets are similar. But the problem is one dude's getting better every day, the other guy is getting older. And while you haven't seen it,
Right.
there wasn't a situation for you to see it because he's fighting older fighters.
Right.
Older fighters fight at a completely different pace. Now, do I think Terrence Crawford could beat Boots? Yes, I think he could.
Right.
Do I think Terrence Crawford would beat Boots? I don't. And I don't think that Terrence Crawford wants to jeopardize what he's built. He could get old overnight. He fights one time a year. He could get old. We've seen it. You could go in there and you want to pull the trigger on something, but it's a millisecond too slow. And then
I
that young man gets you. And
yeah.
Terry Norris didn't have the resume that Ray Leonard had, nor
Right.
the pedigree.
Right.
Nowhere near.
No.
What happened? Cassius Clay, Sonny Liston, Mike Tyson, Larry Holmes. You've seen this movie before.
Yeah. That's the passion of the torch right there.
There's
And
only
that's
so long you can dip back into that well. You can
mhm.
do it for the guys that you have certain things over. But then when you get in there with a fighter like yourself, significantly younger,
Right. It's like Logan versus X-24. He was
bro,
he fighting
no,
himself, man. Just
I,
way more
I'm not.
vicious.
I'm not dealing out of emotion. I know exactly how Crawford can win. The thing is it worth the risk? No,
Right.
Crawford's gonna say, nah,
And
young
and
man.
I second that because when I looked at it, I just look at it from a business standpoint. I've never really stood it on it like, hey, you can't win. Is no, I don't look at it as one of those conversations. I look at it as a fight that, like you said, if I climb that mountain and I now have the ability to be the money guy where I can make money fighting 5, 6 fights that mid competition, but maybe some threat, some risk, but not the level of risk that it would be fighting Boots. But I can make the same money or more not fighting him. I'm not fighting him. I'll
Does
fight
my legacy
who I
change?
not at
Am I
all.
looked at differently? I'm not.
Not at all. It's a fight that people will want to see, but he can retire, go off into the sunset just fine fighting other
And
guys right now, and nobody will care because Boots' era is not the torch is being passed and Boots' era is there. It's sort of like when Crawford was in the game and Mayweather was here. They could have fought ideally if if Crawford really wanted to at that point. He could have jumped up and waited and fought him then, right? But nobody really cared that they didn't meet. They talk about it now because you're talking about their body of work and you say, oh, well, what would have happened? But I think this will be one of those conversations as well. And from a business standpoint, although it'll be a fight I want to see as a fan, I actually say that it is best that it doesn't happen for that reason because Crawford has earned the right to make what he wants to make fighting who he chooses to fight at this point. And if I was managing him, I would say, hey, unless you're saving that fight for last, which is even more,
it's
you
even
know,
worse.
uh, advisable because you're going to just get older. So if you don't fight him now, while you still have most of your reflexes there, you damn sure don't want to wait 2 years to do it. So I think it's a fight that shouldn't happen at this point from a business standpoint for Terrence Crawford. But
Now,
I had to ask you the question for your perspective.
here's where you have to be careful from. The
Mm,
Crawford fan base is fanatic. So the
mm.
more you touch on this topic, the more and more they're gonna lash out. You got one of them in the comments. I see these dudes
Oh yeah,
every day,
I
and
see.
they don't want to analyze boxing with their
One
minds.
thing, two people that do think these things, right? I mean, you could no matter what you say, people gonna feel the way they feel about what we say and what I say. But I can tell you, like personally speaking, I'm not paid by Boost's faction just because I'm from Philly. I'm not paid by these guys. It's not like they care about what I say. So I'm speaking from an analytical perspective and from a business perspective, from our experience and from your experience. I know you're speaking from the same. Like, and yeah, we know who these fighters are in Philly. Yeah, we spend more time than you guys do with, let's say, Crawford and Omaha, right? But we're not. I'm not basing this conversation off of me being a Philadelphian and Boots being a Philly fighter. It's truly the business end of it, and I do feel that Crawford has earned the right to fight whoever he wants. No one said that Boots would go and wipe the floor with Crawford. He gonna knock him out in one. Nobody said none of that. It's a fight that truly is, I think, a 50-50 fight. And it would be interesting to see how both of them adapt and match up. I think that would be a great fight if it were to happen. That's why people are talking about it, because nobody really knows how that fight would end. I think, like I said, I always take younger, bigger man versus older, smaller man, right? And or good big guy versus good small guy. However you want to say it, whatever boxing adage you want to add. I usually do err in that way, but I'm saying what I'm saying simply because from a business perspective, it doesn't make sense for Bud to take that risk at this stage in the game, especially when you're trying to make more money. And you got to the point where you're actually at your top earning potential finally in the game. That's not the fight that
Yo,
you
you
know
know
you
how old heads are, right?
yeah.
The first thing old heads gonna say, nah, you gotta get it out the mud like I did. I ain't
That's the way I am, man. You know, I ain't giving you nothing.
yo, he
You know,
looking like nah,
yeah.
like yo, Oscar De La Hoya versus Julio Cesar Chavez.
Mhm.
I could literally go back in history. More history is on my side. And of course, every fight is different. But I'm saying you keep fucking around with these young dudes. Keep playing around with these young guys that you know are going to be elite. You can't know. I'm not doing it. Like I could go over and fight Eubank, 100,000 people, and make something comparable, if not more. I can do a rematch with Canelo if he wanted and make way more. What was very telling for me, and that shows me I'm not crazy, Tim Bradley Tim Bradley was reacting to a Blue Blood video. Shouts out to Blue Blood. Shouts out to Tim, even though Tim's a fucking hater.
Mhm.
I like Tim, but Tim's a hater. But he
Now
heard
Tim
that
Biden now
he
Tim
heard that
Biden
super biased.
Go
But
ahead.
he heard that Turki Al-Ashiki offered Crawford 50 million to fight Boots. And Tim was talking about how that wasn't enough and how he should get more than he got for Canelo. Now, off the bat, people are going to be like, "Oh, well, he beat Canelo. He should get." That's not how fights go. Fights go by
No.
projected earnings and
Right,
projected revenue. Canelo and Crawford is a generational fight with generational money. The
mhm.
reason, the reason why Tim really said that is because he thinks Boots is a harder fight than Canelo Alvarez. It's a more
That's
dangerous fight than
that's
Canelo
for
Alvarez.
damn sure, man.
That's why he wanted Crawford to be paid for the risk, not
Yeah,
for what the fight is going to generate.
that's
He
what
can
it is.
tell you whatever he wants.
No, that's the truth. Yeah, that's the
He
truth.
can tell you whatever he wants, but
Guess what? I actually agree with that if it's from the risk standpoint. If it's my guy, yeah, you got to pay me something that's like jump out the bed money to put my guy in against Boost if I'm Crawford's manager too. So I mean I agree. And that's not out of fear. It's just like, look, we're risking other fights that we might not take after this fight. You know what I'm saying? And then
yeah,
even from the other perspective, I know we talk about the risk from Crawford's perspective and how much older he is, but Boots is on a rise as well. So it's risk for him too. Like it's not like there's risk on one side. If Boots did go in and lose to Crawford, it can derail a lot of things that he has going, and he has a longer career in front of him than Crawford does. So it's not like there's only risk on one side of the equation. You know what I'm saying? So if Boots is assuming his end of the risk, I can understand, you know, people saying, hey, I think you should be paid a certain way to fight him. But Boots it would assume that risk because he's hungry, he's young, he feels like he could beat him. And I think if Crawford was of that mindset where he was fighting like on some I'm Ryu and I'm just looking for an honorable opponent, I think that's the way it would go. I think he would go ahead and step in the ring with him. But I know at this stage in the game, I'm 42. I know what it feel like to get up and try to move like I'm not even getting punched on, and it's still everything hurt, and I ain't getting punched. My neck
everything,
hurt right now, and I ain't getting
everything.
punched
You
on.
yo, you just lifting weights and you cook.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? You go for a brisk walk and
I need
you
a
like,
back
nah,
out of me.
yo. I'm about to head out,
Yeah,
and appreciate you having me on here.
appreciate
And
you, man.
for people watching, this dude means a lot to me,
Yeah,
yo,
man. That's like my
both
brother, right here, man.
professionally and personally.
Yeah, man.
Hey,
Love you.
wait, somebody asked me, um, who y'all got, Boots versus Floyd? All right, that's a loaded question. Floyd in his prime, I got Floyd because I need to see more from Boots for him to
Mm.
let me know that he can think on that tier with somebody who is constantly adapting with speed, with skills, like a dude like that. So in his prime, I would favor Floyd, but I favor Floyd against Crawford too.
Yeah.
The the Floyd that fought Canelo, like
If you talking pound for pound, go ahead.
The
I'm
Floyd that
listening to
fought Canelo, the Floyd that fought
you.
like Madonna, the Floyd that fought Andre Berto, I got Boots. But the
Right.
Floyd that just got the 47 and all, yeah, I favor that Floyd.
And this is how I look at it. I don't like the fight for Floyd only because I look at Boots as a guy that's like, I don't think there was anything like Boots in the game when Floyd was fighting. You know what I mean? Boots he's a different beast at this point. And for me, Floyd always had tougher fights against southpaws when you look at our unorthodox fighters, and you just happen to have a guy who's an unorthodox switch stance, southpaw slash orthodox fighter, right? So his Emmanuel Augustus fight, one of his toughest fights. His fight against Chop Chop Corley, good fight. Chop Chop was getting some work in there. Zab, the beginning of that Zab fight, Zab was zinging.
It was.
And these guys are all guys that are smaller and their fluid size are around his size. Boots is bigger, just as fast, and hits harder than all those guys. So I just don't like the fight for Floyd if that were to happen. If you're
Yeah.
talking pound for pound, like these guys are the same size, I would agree with what you said, right? But with Boots' size, the way Boots is, his size plus his skill set, no, I wouldn't. I would just stay away from him. And that's not trying to be corny. That's just really just what I would think if they both were in the same division at the same time. I would like, no.
Now, I'm gonna teach you something about this boxing space because it might be different from your football space.
Yeah.
You get fanatics and you get haters. I
Yeah, I'm
want you
gonna
to
get hated.
read the
I get them now.
comment.
They say I'm
But
smart.
this is my man TBE. He's a really, really big boxing fan. A Terrence Crawford fan. Terrence Crawford
Right,
fanatic. You see,
right.
he said that Floyd right now beats Boots. That's a hate ass comment.
But
But
see,
this is what you're
you
gonna be dealing with. So good luck.
this is what I think, man. If I read a comment and it's like something that's off, we can debate it, But if it's something that I think is crazy, I just I act like I ain't see it. It's not. I don't care. You know what I mean? I know they
I
come like
know you
left and right.
for
So I
me,
don't.
I get 1,000 of these. But I
This is how
appreciate
you
you, D.
started, right? Yo, this man. I say this. I know you got to go. This man rumbled over. It wasn't over Kobe solely. Bull hit you or touched you after a Kobe argument. But we was in our bar. I think it was the first week the bar opened at that. And he's one of the bar owners. Like, how you the owner of the bar? You supposed to be the one chilling and keeping the bar safe and chill. This man two-piece the main man over Kobe Bryant argument. So that's why you're so passionate in the comments. Yo, he really take these debates very serious. And it's not because he emotional. It's like it's something that's boxing close to his heart. So anything close to Mill's heart, he ready to fight and die, roll over
Yo,
on the ground for it. And that's
here,
literal. He will put
here's the
hands
crazy
on
thing.
people be thinking you like that's why I be cursing him out. Like, yo, he be in the gym chilling and being like super professional. I said, why you ain't like that here, bro? It is not because he chilling. Like Mill will fight you and put his hands on you real
Yo,
quick.
no, no, no.
Never say that about it. People be
These
talking.
dudes be
Why you
talking to me crazy. And
let like, why
the
you
thing
let him
is, they don't know me.
fight me? Like, I'm gonna fight anybody, bro. And I'm talking about street shit, not even on not no gym shit. Street shit where you don't even know if you get home tonight. Mill will still
Bro,
put his hands on you.
these dudes, they think they have an idea. They see that camera and they
Yeah,
think that they can get their shit off. And
like, all
I
right,
try to tell them, like, nah, this ain't that.
all right. Your dad
But
had to sit down and do a lot of mediation to make sure we stayed
bro,
alive.
listen, I appreciate you, bro. I'm about to go live. You coming down tomorrow and
Yeah, Friday, I'm there. I'm there with you
at the
Friday.
weigh-in? All right,
Friday.
bet.
Yesterday about tomorrow. What's tomorrow?
Tomorrow's the press conference, but I don't know if they're gonna be letting people in.
Yeah, well, I'll come down Friday for sure. I'll be there.
All right, bet.
All right,
Appreciate
brother.
you.
Peace.